Hey there, Colby coming to you from Muffler Tech and stolencast.com. It's been a little bit since I released a video talking about catalytic converter theft, and it's certainly not because it's slowed down at all. We've just been very busy and it's been kind of hard to stay ahead of it, to be quite honest. I feel I have a responsibility to continue to update kind of the community and my followers, and hopefully this gets spread around to kind of help everybody that's running into this situation of getting their catalytic converter stolen. And that is to update you on what we are seeing in trends as far as what the thieves are after, so that we can kind of get it out there and warn people that hopefully can take some preventative measures to keep themselves from becoming victims. Now, as you see behind me here, the Honda Accord, and I've got plenty of Priuses here, they are still 100% the number one victim, speaking to the type of cars that are still being focused on as far as what the thieves are after. But I want to talk to you today about the small SUV and what kind of danger you're in potentially if that's the kind of car you have. All right, so like I was talking about, we always have plenty of Honda Accords. Now, just to review and kind of let people know so we're not freaking people out around every Honda Accord, the Accords tend to only be basically from 97 up to 2007. After 2007, the Accords got cats in their manifolds, and they are not a target. So pretty much up to 07. But this is what I want to talk about today. So you can see a lineup here. These are all here for insurance, and every single one of them has a stolen catalytic converter on it. Now, the Nissan NV is not a new vehicle that we see. That this has been something that has been coming in for the last few years, and it's very common for theft. But you see over here, we've got a newer Honda here, and then we have an older one here, and then we have a 2018 Toyota, maybe not SUV, but crossover. But the point being is that these have started to come in pretty big numbers. We have a Hyundai there, and they weren't targets before. And the best thing that I can assume around that is, at least initially, the cats that were on these vehicles. First of all, the manifold cats, which almost every single one of these has, and here I'll show you that. So I have the engine compartment open here on this Hyundai, and you can see we have a 4-cylinder here. This is your plastic intake manifold here, and this would be the head of the engine underneath this cover. But this vehicle has a catalytic converter that sits right there. That is the exhaust manifold. You can see that is right there. That's the O2 sensor coming out of the top of the manifold. This is the heat shield going over the exhaust manifold. But right below it, you can see kind of that gold. It's a little dark in there, but that gold heat shield from the heat, and then you can see the Hyundai H on there. That is the manifold cat, and that is where the main cat is on this vehicle. And I think that's why initially we weren't really seeing these much for theft, but this vehicle also would have one in the pipe underneath there. Now you can see we've done a temporary repair to move it around while we're waiting for the part to come from Hyundai. This is an OEM part only application, but you can see our fresh welds and kind of the discolored pipe. But that is where the secondary cat would be, and of course that's a low-hanging fruit. All right, similar story with this Honda. This is a 2021 HRV, also a 4-cylinder SUV. You can see the engine there. This one's a little bit different. The intake manifold sits there on the back side, and the exhaust manifold is here on the front side. Easiest way to kind of figure out where the exhaust manifold is just like on the Hyundai. You'll see the O2 sensor. This is actually an air-fuel ratio sensor, but it's in the exhaust manifold, which is this piece here. And if you look, that right there is the main catalytic converter. Now, that would be the prize, but see how difficult it is to get. You'd actually have to get in, open the hood, and literally start wrenching on the engine to get that part out of there. But just like on the Hyundai, there's a secondary cat underneath that sits. You can see the cut pipe right there, and that cat sits in that cavity that sits right there. Again, low-hanging fruit. The thieves are grabbing these now. And cat theft on newer vehicles used to be pretty rare. We're starting to see it now on a lot newer applications. Kind of similar story, although this Honda only has a single cat that sits underneath it. This Toyota is exactly the same story as those first two. Now let's take a look at this older RAV4 that's up on the rack now. Exactly the same story. Now this one, they didn't cut it out, they actually unbolted it. So you can see the rear pipe there that goes back to the muffler. And then this is where the cat would be, and that heat shield is. And then here's the front pipe. This leads up to the engine. Just to keep fresh on the updates as well, we're starting to see some of the Ford Transits along with some of the other larger, like the Nissan NV200s and things like that. Some of the Sprinters, which is surprising because they're diesel, and diesel cats aren't worth much. But just want to keep you in the loop on that. Motorhomes are still very fresh. I'm seeing those, at least a couple of those a day. And as I mentioned earlier, plenty of Priuses. We're seeing the Gen 2s pretty strong still. There's a couple more sitting there. And then let's just walk quickly to our back shop here and make sure I'm not forgetting anything. There's some more of those Generation 7 Honda Accords. Newer Prius. We are starting to see the newer Priuses come in with pretty good amount of frequency now, and of course more Accords. Another Prius there. So you know, keep your guard up. New SUVs are a big target now. So then the big question would be, what do we do to stop this? Well, this is a company we work very closely with. They're right here in the Sacramento area, Cat Security. And as you can see, they offer a number of different shields. We have some of the smaller ones here on the display. These are mini, just to show people kind of what they look like. I have a video on the Toyota Tacoma, which is here, and they also have one for a Tundra, which looks very similar. These are the three different Prius offerings. But what I'm going to show you is this here, and this is this display that we have made up to show people what we're doing as a universal protectant for catalytic converters like the SUVs I showed you out there in the parking lot. And what you're looking at here is, and we painted it red to differentiate kind of what it is that we're doing, but this is roll bar tubing. And what we're doing is we're cutting and forming it and welding it to the exhaust system around the catalytic converter itself. And what that does is it makes it to where when they have to go to cut through the exhaust pipe, they're also cutting through the roll bar to get the prize, which is the cat. This would be the catalytic converter example here. Now, on the end here, you can see kind of the difference. A little bit difficult to determine maybe on camera, but how much thicker this is than a piece of exhaust pipe. This is also cold rolled steel, so it's denser and harder to cut through, and it burns up blades a lot faster. So it increases the amount of cut time that it would take a thief to get through. Here's a piece that I'm holding in my hand here, and impossible on video to give you an idea how heavy this is, but you can kind of see how thick it is on camera, and very heavy duty stuff. So this is our solution as a universal component, obviously not something that people are going to be able to do on their own. They have to come to a shop like us that understands how to do that properly. Now let me address the rebar, which is something that a lot of shops are using, and it's certainly better than nothing at all. But the main difference between rebar and the roll bar that I was just showing you is rebar is a soft metal. It's specifically designed to be able to be bent, put in concrete, and use it for reinforcing different construction projects. It's not necessarily an item that's going to do very well as far as preventing a sawzall cutting through it. It definitely would prevent a pipe cutter like what the thieves were using in kind of the beginning of this over 10 years ago. But we are just simply in the numbers. And by the way, if you're not familiar with some of my other videos, I'll remind my viewers the kind of numbers we are seeing at our shop here in Sacramento, California, and that is close to 20 vehicles per day for stolen catalytic converters. So our data collection is pretty high, and that gives us the advantage of being able to report numbers back to you here, my audience, that I believe are pretty reliable numbers, speaking to, you know, knowing what works and what doesn't. So we see lots of rebar put on by other shops, and again, it's certainly better than nothing, but they're coming in with them stolen with that rebar on them. Now, with our roll bar idea, I'm not going to tell you we never see them come back stolen, but it's pretty rare. That stuff works pretty well, and the deterrent factor is seemingly pretty high, just from the data that we've collected. So in closure, I just want to make sure everybody understands, and I'm not looking to freak anybody out, but I believe awareness is a huge thing here, and what you need to know out there is that if you're driving a crossover or a small SUV or even a large SUV, trucks and things like that, the specific targeting of certain cars still exists and still has the leaders out there like I was showing you, but we are starting to see a lot more random stuff coming in now, and lots and lots of small SUVs. So easiest way to determine whether or not you think you are at risk and you drive a vehicle that you're worried if you're at risk is do what I did in the parking lot. Look underneath there, see if you can locate a catalytic converter that's kind of hanging down in that exhaust system. And if you can see a converter there, very likely you could be a potential target. And kind of speaking to what I see in general audience, I mean, I'm this channel, granted, is not huge compared to a lot of other YouTubers, but specific to catalytic converter theft, we're getting lots of global interest. This is not something that is happening just in Sacramento or just in California or just in the state you live in. I'm getting lots of inquiries from different parts of the globe. Germany's one of the areas that I get a lot of contacts from, the UK, Italy, Australia. So this is not specific to a certain area. It's definitely happening everywhere, and I think as rhodium continues to be an expensive commodity, which rhodium, just quickly, is the main ingredient in a catalytic converter. As long as rhodium continues to be a commodity that's worth $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 an ounce, this is not going to slow down. Keep in mind, again, the vehicles that I mentioned, and just be aware. And if you're in the Sacramento area, please come and see us, because we're more than happy to help you with deterrent items to help keep this from happening. And hopefully we'll be talking to you about that and not about your cat actually being stolen. Now, if you've experienced the theft and you have insurance, please give us a ring, and you can reach us here. Again, the business name is Muffler Tech. We are in Sacramento, California. I'll have my phone number up here on the screen. You can contact us. Do not let your insurance send you to the shop that they recommend. You're going to want to choose the shop that you want the repair done. Of course, we would love to earn your business, but if you're logistically just not close enough to us, very important. It is absolutely your choice who repairs your vehicle, and my advice is do some research online, find a shop that has really good reviews, and give them a call and find out if they know how to process an insurance claim. Insurance companies are going to send you a body shop, which is not necessarily a bad thing, of course, if you crash into a tree or something, but if you have a stolen exhaust component, body shops are not necessarily the best avenue to go. And most of the time when your car ends up at a body shop, it ends up getting subletted to an exhaust shop to get repaired, which is okay, except that you, as the owner of your vehicle, are not participating in who is ultimately getting chosen to do that fix. So listen, guys, thanks so much for watching. Do us all a favor in the community, help my channel grow. Let's get this shared, let's get this out there. Give me a comment. I'm really good at responding. If you have any questions, I would, of course, 100% appreciate your subscription if you like my content. Thanks very much, you guys. Have a great day.